Hi everybody, my name is Sam Pedro. Welcome back to another video. And today I want to talk about memorizing things and memory palaces. And that's because I'm currently reading a book called Memory Craft by Lynne Kelly, which talks about how to memorize things, also about the science of memorizing things, and about the history of humans memorizing things, which is actually really fascinating. I had no idea that we as humans in our culture had such a history of memorizing things. And I've always been able to remember a lot of things. Remembering things has always come easy to me. And because of that, I've set a lot of goals around memorizing things. And I've never been really consistent, but I've always had this idea that I wanted to be able to memorize a large amount of information. And I think that idea is kind of maybe an old-fashioned idea. In our internet age, we don't value memorization as much as we used to. And I think that's actually kind of sad, because I think there is value in the process of memorization. The more you memorize, I think the better you are at memorizing things. You only get better. And also the act of committing something to memory helps you really learn that thing you're memorizing. And it also, the more you know, I feel like the more links you can make in your life. And so I purchased this book because I heard it was great at just talking about some of the simple, mnemonics or other methods that people have used to do well at memorizing things. But as I've already mentioned, I'm just fascinated by the cultural history of memorization. And so the book talks a lot about all these cultures and what they've done. So anywhere from monks who are memorizing scriptures to the Navajo tribe. I believe there's like 400 insects in their environment, and they memorized each one in their minds. They could know the names of it and kind of what that insect did. The book also mentions Aborigines in Australia. As they would walk through Australia and through their landscape, they would tie the landscape to stories. And so a storyteller, as they're going through, could tell this huge long story that they had committed to memory. The book also talks a lot about physical objects that cultures would use and link it to memory, whether it was beads or corded rope or a staff that had notches in it, and those notches would remind whoever was holding it of some type of information. And the list was on and on and on in this book of how we as humans have implemented these memory techniques and have memorized large amounts of information. And so that leads me to this idea of memory palaces. And I don't have the time in this video to go too in depth into what a memory palace is, but it's a pretty common and well-known mnemonic technique to help you remember things. And the book talks about this doctor from China who actually memorized an entire dictionary, an entire English-Chinese dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary. He memorized everything in that dictionary. So if you asked him any word, he could tell you what that word was in the other language and the definition, and he could also tell you what page it's on and what word it preceded. Just an amazing feat of memory. You can actually look him up on YouTube, him being quizzed on this knowledge. And the way he was able to memorize a whole dictionary was with the use of memory palaces. And so we as humans, we have this great ability to navigate spatially. We remember our physical locations. You could describe easily with your eyes closed what your house, how you walk through your house and what's in each room. You could probably tell me how you get to work pretty easily. And we're just naturally good at remembering these spatial locations. And so a memory palace, which is also known as the Method of Loci, is a way to hijack that innate ability for spatial locations. And so what you would do is you would take a physical location you're really familiar with, and you would place things you're memorizing and tie it to objects within that location, and you would create some type of journey where you walk through that area and you're able to recall that information. And so one thing I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to memorize the capitals of every country. And that was brought up in this book because the author did this as well using a memory palace. And so I decided to do it as well. And so I created a journey walking through my house where I linked objects in my house to countries. And so at first I memorized every country in the world in descending order of population. And then after I did that, I went back and added the capital. And so what I did is in this journey, I would try to create a visual image for each country. And that's because your mind remembers images, especially people, things you can animate. And so I would link something that was with that country to some type of image in that location. And it probably took me 4 or 5 days to do all the countries. But those images were very strong by the end of that. And so when I went to memorize the capitals, I would just, if I linked a country to a person, I'd add some type of object that would remind me of the capital. And that only took me 1 day to add 200 capitals to my memory. And so I can now recite in descending or ascending order every country in the world and its capital. And it's just been really eye-opening. I've done memory palaces before, but never to this extent. And I realize I want to continue to build memory palaces. I'd love to have thousands of memory palaces with information that is important to me, where I can store that. And so I think I'll share a little bit on this channel as I go, maybe some things related to memory and kind of what I'm learning there. But thanks for watching. If anything I've said sounded interesting to you, I really suggest Memory Craft. I think it's an amazing book on so many different aspects of memory. It's just a great book, great read. Can't recommend it enough. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.